So let's go ahead and do some practice problems. So first let's go ahead and figure out how many grams are in 6 kilograms. Now sometimes we get really lucky and we find the exact equivalency that we need. Sometimes we don't. Okay, so I know that grams and kilograms, it doesn't matter if it's length, because if I can substitute the meter part, then I actually have the conversion for metric. So if I go ahead and I'm looking at this, I can still use it if I don't remember how many grams are in a kilogram. I can go ahead and look at kilo means 1,000 meters. And I know that a meter is going to be 100 centimeters. But remember, okay, meters is like the grams, because if you remember, if you just take the word meter off and I substitute grams, I get 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams. So there I have my conversion. Okay, so 6 kilograms, I want to know how many grams, that's my question. Okay, and 6 kilograms. Okay, so I know that we have 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. And the measurement I'm given is kilograms, so that means 6 kilograms needs to go there. And this is what I don't know. So now I'm going to get rid of all of those measurements and I'm going to rewrite this with just numbers and an unknown. So I got a 1 over 1,000, and I got a 6, and I need a variable to represent I don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and put G for grams. Okay, so now I'm ready to go ahead and use whatever method I like. So I see here's the 6 and the 1. So I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, well, if I multiply times 6, so times 6, then I could multiply this by 6, but that's not so good for me, right? And the reason is because I don't know. G times 6 is going to give me 1,000 right now. So I'm going to go the other way. So I'm going to go this direction because I'm going from a known to a variable. So I'm going to go this way. So that would be 1 times 6 equals 6. So I know I need to do 1,000 times 6 to get G. So if I do 1,000 times 6, I get grams is 6,000. So my answer is 6,000 grams. So what if I decided to make a cake and it wasn't as prepared as I thought I was? So I go ahead and I pull everything out, I'm getting ready to make the cake, and it says, oh, Jennifer, you need half a cup of milk. And Jennifer's like, I don't have a measuring cup that's going to do that for me, but I have this little tablespoon thing. So I go ahead and I figure out what the equivalency is there. So I'm going to use my kitchen one this time. Okay, and this one says that 1/16 of a cup is equal to 1 tablespoon. And I'm going to need that one because I only have a tablespoon. Okay, so let's go ahead and read our problem again. So we have a half, and that means cup. And I don't have that measuring cup, but I have a tablespoon measure. So this question is, how many tablespoons do I need? So I need to convert tablespoons to cups or cups to tablespoons. Okay, so this only says that 1/16 of a cup is the same as 1 tablespoon, according to my equivalency. So let's write what we have. Okay, so we want to know that half a cup, okay, is how many tablespoons? But we know, okay, keeping the same values in the same places, I need cups up here, that 1/16 of a cup is same as 1 tablespoon. Okay, so now which direction do we want to go? Okay, so remember we want to go from what we know to what we don't know. So that means we're going to go this way. And now this one, it's kind of Not an easy one, right, with those fractions? So saying we need to know how many 1/16 of a cup times what number is going to give us exactly 1/2. So I would say this method would be one. I would go ahead and I would do some cross multiplying. So let's go ahead and rewrite it so it doesn't have so much stuff in it. Okay, so I have 1/2 cup over, I'm going to put T for tablespoons, equals 1/16 over 1. And now, remember, these aren't fractions, so it's okay. They're proportions. It's okay if we have fractions in here. But if we were trying to write fractions, can't do this that way. Okay, so my cross multiplying. Okay, just crisscross. So what's T times 1/16? And then 1 times 1/2. Okay, and the equal sign stays in the middle of what I multiplied. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to figure out if I multiplied a number by something, so 1/16 times, I don't know, is 1/2. How do I undo multiplying? Well, I go ahead and I use division. So the second step when you're doing cross multiplying is often going to be to divide. So you're going to take your calculator. Okay, and when we take 1/2 and we divide by 1/16, we get this. So 1/16 divided by 1/16 just gives us a plain old T, because anything divided by itself is 1. And then 1/2 divided by 1/16 is 8, because 2 times 8 makes 16. Okay, not our final answer. Remember, our answer says how many tablespoons of do I need of the milk. So I'm going to say I need 8. So I'm going to say I need 8 tablespoons of milk. Okay, so Chris Johnson ran the 40-yard dash in 4.2 seconds. What was their speed in yards per minute? Now, I would say this is a pretty hard question because there's a problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and read. So we have 40-yard, okay, dash. That means it's the race, the 100-yard dash, okay? Did it in 4 2/10 seconds. And the question we're trying to figure out is the speed in yards per minute. Okay, so we got the yards part, but we got to figure out how many seconds in a minute. Okay, so let's write these ratios. So we have 40 yards, YD is the abbreviation, 4.2 seconds, and we want to know how many minutes, okay, yards per minute. 1 minute, and we want to know how many yards. So this is our unknown. Okay, so remember the direction we're going is we want to go to something that's going to give us 40 to, we're going to do this as equivalent fractions where I can cross multiply. So let's go ahead and set it up to cross multiply. So I got 40 over 4 2/10 because that's yards versus seconds. And then I don't know how many yards, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll put D for distance. And I know that's 1 minute. What's wrong with this? Well, the problem is this and this are 2 different units. So this is not the proportion we're going to solve, guys. Okay, so first thing we need to do is we need to change minutes to seconds. Well, how the heck do you do that? Well, you got to know how many seconds are in a minute. So let's go ahead and do that. So, do you know? Hopefully you do. Okay, so none of these handy dandy little charts have anything about time. So let's remember, how many seconds does it take to make a minute? You're in business if you said 60 seconds. Okay, so 40 over 4 2/10 seconds. So 40 yards, 4 is 4 2/10 seconds. But now we got to go, I don't know how many yards, so I'm going to put D for distance. And I'm going to go ahead and do 60 here because 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. And now I'm in business. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cross multiply. So 4 2/10 times the distance is equal to 60 seconds times 40 yards. So that's going to give me 2,400. And now, here's what I'm going to do. I need to make this number here in front of the D a 1. So the inverse of multiplying by 4 and 2/10 is to divide by 4 and 2/10. So I'm going to do the same thing over on the right side, because whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. And now I can go ahead and figure out what I got. So I take my handy dandy calculator, and I get approximately, because there's a bunch of decimals, I'm going to round to the tenths place, 571 and 4/10, and the units is minutes. And the units is yards. So that means if I went, or somebody else went, because I could never run this fast, if it took me 4.2 seconds to go 40 yards, then it would take me 1 minute running at the same pace would give me a distance of 571 yards. And remember, like a football field in the United States is 100 yards. So that would be over 5.5 football fields. Well, it would be about 5 football fields, because remember, you got the end zones. Okay, so we will go ahead and we'll go over some more of this when we get to school, because sometimes you got to figure out what method works for you. But this is the basics of using ratios to do ahead and do what we call conversions.